the generation that we live in, the youth we are in, I'm a 2000. I just think that they don't acknowledge and value the reason behind the June 16, the reason behind the marches, the reason behind the voice of those people who died for us. I just think that they don't take this thing seriously, and they need to be told, they need to be reminded that June 16 is not just a play, but then it's a platform where us blacks fought for our freedom.
In 1974, former South African Minister of Bantu Administration and Development, MC Botha, decreed that the use of Afrikaans be made a medium of instruction in all black schools. The youth of 1976 did not take this lying down. An estimation of 20,000 learners took it upon themselves to fight for what they believed was right.
Happy Youth Month, South Africa. This is Stories Untold, the home of good news, and I am Bulem Molebati. Thank you for being with us today. We're spending the next few minutes getting to know about the challenges that young people face in South Africa. But not just that, how about the youth of 1976 who are now fully grown adults? They reflect back on the day, the kind of challenges that they faced and what they had to fight to be where they are today.
The Stories Untold team took a trip across Johannesburg in search of high schools and townships to check the progress the youth of 1976 has achieved. We went to Tembisa Commerce and Entrepreneurship School of Specialisation, previously known as Tembisa High School, Katlehong Engineering School of Specialisation, previously known as Katlehong Technical High School, and Vine Christian School, a private school in Krugersdorp. We conversed with some of their staff members.
Youth Day to me, it means a lot, because we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't because of the youth of 1976. They sacrificed their lives. Over 200 youth died for this country, for our education, because they fought to make sure that there is justice, there is equality, there is right to education for every South African school-going child. So it means a lot, and its commemoration says to me, even the current generation must learn to understand that we come a long way as a country. Many people died for this. The youth of 76 were forced to do Afrikaans as a medium of instruction in certain subjects. And that was oppression from the apartheid regime. So one cannot be associated with such. So this day means a lot.
They went out there fighting for the youth of South Africa. So actually they did a great job by fighting, because of back then the apartheid did not allow us to learn with our official language, our vernacular. So we were forced to be taught with Afrikaans.
I think Youth Day must be not only be celebrated by the youth. Youth Day got a very particular history to it. If you go back to 16th June 1976, where we had the uprising in Soweto, and where learners were fighting specifically for education. And for me personally, there's a big difference in the education we've got today, especially in the township environment, in comparison with 1976. So I want to believe that the fight that they fought in 1976 was not in vain. There's so much improvement. If we look at our school, in Gauteng, it's the school that's most in demand, and it's heartwarming to realize that parents want to bring their children back to township schools. I can assure you there's definitely good teaching and learning happening in majority of our township schools these days. Not only Katoris, I think in all the townships in Gauteng specifically, I go to a lot of schools that we visit, that we support. So I'm very excited, because if we can continue the way that we are doing things these days in township schools in terms of ITC, new subjects, pilot subjects, the future is bright for our youth of today.
I started being a teacher in very, very difficult times. That was in the year 1995, when we were just getting our freedom, I would put it that way. So that's when I started my teaching profession. And I must indicate that during our days, it has been difficult because we didn't have much of support from the government. We had to buy textbooks ourselves. We had to buy study guides ourselves. That education that we received at that particular time didn't make me the person I wanted to become. I wanted to become an electrical engineer. One had to take this particular route where I went to College of Education to study teaching.
Oh, it was very hectic. I don't want to lie. I had to look for everything, what was happening at home, cooking for my siblings. So it was very hectic while my parents would go and work for us. Like, it was not easy. I don't want to lie.
It is 2024, and South Africa now has schools that afford students a variety of choices over or above just the language of instruction. One such school is Katlehong Engineering High School. Daniel Malindi, the HOD, gave us insight on the curriculum the school has to offer.
I'm a guy that comes from this township, so I know the hardships of Abokokongale. When somebody goes into matric and goes nowhere, we started engaging with principal and government to make sure that we change a school so that it does not only churn out one matric certificate after 13 years of schooling. All schools do that. I said, if we can get 10 certificates for a learner and start them off on a trajectory of employment. At around 2010, we started thinking critically about this school and what do we want the school to be like? Whether we are offering that which our communities need. And we found that we were teaching according to our past. In 1976, all education was the same because everybody had to serve a certain kind of community. Right now, you're looking at us having fishes and it is a course here. And we're growing plants using fishes. That was a course that never existed. We are teaching people about maritime, which is an international course. Here at this school. It becomes useless education when you can't make your own food because you can't eat money. So we teach them in the absence of everything, they should be able to make their own food. So we've got crop production, we've got egg production, we've got even meat production of chickens as well. And we're teaching them through those skills, entrepreneurial skills. On top of that, we've got electrical, welding and automotive. They can fix things, my learners. They are able to do EGD. They can draw up an idea from their head and give numbers to it. What those guys did was to give me a choice to be that which I want to be. Anything I want to be. I wanted to be an airline pilot. I ended up in teaching because I could not be an airline pilot. But right now, my learners are making sure that they go wherever their hearts please.
Welcome back, and today we take to the streets of Johannesburg to find out from young people what it means to be a young person in South Africa, but specifically, what does Youth Day mean to young people?
It's powerful because many people sacrifice their lives so that I can be here, because I know very well that if the Bantu education system was imposed on black people, most of us won't be in university, most of us wouldn't make it to high school. So it means a lot, it means a lot.
Sebenzile because manje siyafunda nabelungu ngoba nje ngila UJ so KZN like bengisaba ngisuka khona ngithi sokhulunyisa iAfrikaans yabo kodwa nje ngiyakhona ukunderstanda ilecturer ye-social work ikhulume nje ngesiZulu understand yabo.
I think it's a sign that as a young person I can make a change. I can make a difference. They started something and it's our job as young people who are alive now to finish the job.
The students were given the opportunity to express what Youth Day means to them.
I believe it pays tribute to the sacrifices and bravery of their students that were killed in 1976.
It is a reminder that the voices of the youth is very powerful, and it is a very powerful thing to shape our futures and also the community.
What happened back then was in vain, because there are many dropouts right now that people just don't want to finish school.
Education was not a success because the only thing they were able to do was to teach or be a social illness or doctor. But now we can be able to study for whatever we want. We can do law, we can do engineering. Back then you won't be able to do that.
Now I can go to private schools and learn just like the white man's child, the same way they learn, and in the language that I choose to.
It's a day that symbolizes being grateful for the sacrifices that were made by our previous generations.
Those people who actually fought for us to have equal rights to education.
It's actually one of the significant days in South Africa, and it means a lot to me because it encourages leadership. It made me to realize that, you know, as a person you actually have to build a title for yourself, study hard and be something in future.
It is more of a celebration to me. Like, it's a celebration of choice, and they gave us, like, how can I say, an opportunity to be able to choose our own way in education.
I now have a choice of choosing what I want to pursue academically and not being streamlined based on my race.
Fine Christian School is a very helpful school, honestly, because we are not a lot in the school, so they help us individually. They see our strengths, our weaknesses, and help us in all the subjects we struggle with.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing because it builds you to become something. Hence I've said that you have to build a title for yourself. So me being a part of TCE SOS, it actually grooms me to become a better person in future.
At times it feels like a lot of burden, but mostly it's very enjoyable because the subjects I'm doing right now are the subjects I've always wanted to do. I've always been interested in engineering and science, and I usually have hope that I have a better chance of being ready for the world of work, because the offerings at our school bridge the gap between the current offering of NSC and what the world of work requires and demands from its employees. And not only are we limited to being employees of industry, you also get a chance of opening up more businesses and bring about change for the better in our communities.
I do live in a democratic community because there is social cohesion. We are united today. You know, we have access to freedom. We do what we want.
Since my first grade or grade R, I have never ever paid for any books. I only pay school donation, and it's optional. There's no excuses for me to complain about school being difficult. The only difficult part is that I have to absorb the information. The rest provided by the government. The food, education, the teachers, extra classes, everything is provided, all for free. Something that the people who died for us in 1976, they died for a good cause.
The stories I heard from my parents and the way they lived, and I see now that I was born into freedom, I see the democracy. We get to do things that back then our parents weren't able to do. Like, we were able to travel, we're able to live in expensive houses, we're able to live in the biggest, have cars, we were able to do a lot of things that they couldn't do back then.
I wish it could be better if the offerings that we have in our school were not only limited to this place, but they would also be available for other schools, so that we have more people who acquire skills at the age of 18, right after they finish high school, so that they're not only having limited choices as to what they want to do after high school, because not everyone is a university material.
What the students of 1976 did back then would have encouraged us as the youth of today. But if you look as the life that we're living today is 2000, we are not serious about life, because I think the youth of today is more ambitious about vibes and, you know, alcohol, yet they cannot be persistent when it comes to their futures.
One of the few challenges that I face as a young person in South Africa is the uncertainty of our future as the young people. Are we in safe hands? Are we choosing the right people to lead us? Is this the democracy that we asked for sometimes? Because the governance in our country makes it hard to live. Mostly our school is engineering based. We are very, very reliant on the supply of electricity, and you do know that our country faces a lot of problems, including load shedding. So at that time, when you have load shedding, it also compromises the learning of the school, because the curriculum is based on electricity. So you can't learn anything on electricity if you do not have electricity.
I don't have much challenges. There are specific things that I don't find pleasing, but it's not of like most of a challenge to me. When I go to a store or probably a place, they treat me differently because of the way I look sometimes. But other than that, I really don't take it to head. I honestly don't mind.
To all the grade 8 learners and the other grades that follow, I'd like to say that, you know, you have to remember that even if you face a hard situation, for example, I repeated grade 11, which was an agonizing pain for me that left me under a dark cloud. But, you know, no matter how people spoke or no matter what circumstances that I was facing, I dusted myself and owned up to my failure. So failure doesn't actually determine your fate and the type of future that you're about to live. And failure, or coming from a background that is poor, it doesn't determine who you will be. So what I have to say right now is that be the master of your own habits, or they will master you. Never settle for less, because you're capable of anything. And lastly, remember that quitters never win, but winners never quit.
You shouldn't allow the environment to change your authenticity, but they should learn to be able to work with other people and embrace different people. They must have respect, and mostly they must be very, very disciplined.
Today on Stories Untold, we're spending some time with young people in Gauteng just to hear about the challenges. But we'd like to take this particular context in this particular segment to look at the saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Now, what we mean by that is that we have educators who spend quite a lot of time with young people in schools. What do they have to say to young people who sometimes find themselves disgruntled, with no sense of direction, and of course faced with many, many challenges? Let's hear from them.
In our school, and not only in our school, let me say in all our neighboring schools, we do face challenges, specifically in terms of your socio-economic challenges, where there's a real poverty out there. So from the school side, not only us, neighboring schools as well, we really try and assist learners as much as possible. We also make sure that learners eat and they're well looked after, because when they are busy in a constructive manner in the school, then there's no time to do wrong things. For example, when I was appointed in 2015, the average pregnancy rate in the school was about 30 learners, and we are down now to approximately 2 learners a year. So somewhere we're doing something right, that excites us as well. And one of the key factors that make our school successful is also all the extra programs we offer to the youth, and not only to the learners in the school. We also include the unemployed youth in the community, which is also one of the reasons why the community is so protective of our school. We never suffer in burglaries or service delivery issues. They really see the school as a beacon of hope, and that makes every day coming to school worth it.
Our youth, they don't respect education. They take it lightly. We are trying our best. We are giving them the freedom of choice. They are forced to come to school because of parents. They want what is best for them. You'll find that they don't do their work. Sometimes they don't come to school. You have to do some follow-up. Remember, this school is very small. Sometimes they can't get or reach more than 30%. You have to make sure, you have to work hard to reach 30%. Hence, it's a small school. We are managing to do one-on-one so that they can reach that maybe 50 or 70. Some they don't write their homework. Hence, I'm saying we need to work hard. If it was me back then, I'll come every day because of the benefits, everything, and so forth. What they are getting, I wish I was born now.
The youth of today, I think their challenges mainly, one is alcohol. Two, it's substance abuse and teenage pregnancy. And those challenges, for one, I would say to some is self-inflicted pain, because they get more support than the youth of 1976. There's more that this government has done for this country than the previous government did for its citizens. So, and even parents are trying their level best to say, children, go to school, because this is the key for you to go anywhere you want. But unfortunately, even some of them are distracted by peer pressure, and some of them end up even leaving the school to do other things. So there are so many challenges. Some of the parents are also adding to the challenges that these children face. You'll find that there is a school next to a tavern, and that person is a parent, and the music would continue overnight, and you've got learners who are expected to study, but because of the sound that is coming next door, they are unable to. So, and some of them are able to rise above that, go somewhere to study, but others don't have places to study. There are gangsters in our communities because of a lack of education. It is unfortunate that some of the people have not embraced change the way they were supposed to. Education is the only key to success. I would encourage all children of school-going age to go to school. Make sure that they listen to their parents, and when they are in school, they listen to their teachers. And if that can happen, all our schools will perform, all our communities will flourish, because we'll have no illiterates on our streets.
In short, I would tell them to never stop dreaming and believing in themselves, no matter where you come from. Keep your eye on your goal. Somewhere there will be a way, and you'll make it in life. Just believe.
There are schools like us that can make you access that dream. I'm not asking you to have money. I'm asking you to have a dream in your hand. Come equipped with your dream, and let's see what we can do about it.
Another great story wrapped right here on Stories Untold. A big thank you to everyone that participated today, and to you at home for watching. We are hoping that you are taking the inspiration and doing something in your community. From myself, Pule Molebatsi, and the team, we say, same time, same place. Goodbye.